A young man stepped forward with determination, the sole of his sneaker striking the pavement with purpose. Without hesitation, he broke into a sprint, weaving through the city sidewalk as if pulled by an invisible force toward his destination. This was Jan Gong, a name his parents gave him, meaning protagonist, a destiny they hoped he would live up to. He burst into a small shop where his friends greeted him with cheerful voices, announcing his arrival. With a grin, he explained how people often mocked his name, but he never cared because deep down he truly wanted to become a hero. Jan asked eagerly if the new game had arrived. His friend nodded, proudly revealing that he had reserved a copy just for him. It was the remake of a legendary classic, Night Saga, reborn as Night Saga Re. The story was iconic, the endless conflict between the human and demon races. Players could choose to step into the shining armor of the human hero rogue, or descend into the fiery realm of the demons, siding with powerful allies. Another option was to embody Zephyr Ragnaros, the second son of the Demon King. Jan wasn't a newcomer. He had cleared the original game more than 10 times, memorizing every character, item, and hidden event. But this release was different. For the first time, Night Saga had been adapted into full virtual reality. Back at home, he wasted no time. He went straight to his sleek VR gaming chair, cradling the small cartridge in his hands like a precious relic. Carefully, he slotted it into the machine before lowering the smooth helmet over his head. With arms folded confidently, he settled into the seat, ready to dive into the world. A short session for him meant at least 8 hours. As the system booted up, radiant streams of light engulfed his body. His surroundings dissolved, and suddenly he stood in a sunlit room. Confused, he muttered to himself, this wasn't the usual starting area. His eyes caught something odd in the reflection nearby, pointed ears. He touched his face, staring at his new form, a pale boy with white hair and crimson eyes. Before he could process it, a gruff voice shouted from beyond the curtain, dripping with sarcasm. Still asleep, slacker? The curtain was pulled aside by an orc warrior, who barked at him to hurry, reminding him they had a morning schedule. Jan blinked in awe. The realism was breathtaking. Textures, expressions, even the weight of the orc's voice. Jokingly, he remarked on the graphics, but the warrior only frowned at his odd words. It dawned on him he could actually talk to these characters. That had never been announced as a feature. Hesitantly, he asked the orc's name. The warrior looked hurt, then replied, "Did you forget me? I'm Carrick. Now move it. Everyone's waiting for Prince Shutra." Jan froze. Prince Shutra. His mind raced. Could it be Shutra Ignis, the 9th son of the Demon King? But he hadn't even chosen a character. Quickly, he raised his hand, instinctively trying the game's menu command. A shimmering holographic screen blinked into existence, just as he expected. His jaw tightened as he read the details. Name, Shutra Ignis. Stats. Each one 5 points lower than an ordinary NPC. Disbelief set in. He scrolled further. 2 skills appeared, Conquest and something called Protagonist Bonus. His heart skipped a beat. Could it really be that Protagonist Bonus? Before he could linger, Carrick poked his head in again, yelling for him to move faster. Shaking off his thoughts, Jan, now Shutra, followed him out. Sunlight flooded his eyes as he stepped outside, only to be met with a shocking sight. An entire orc army, lined up in formation, prepared for battle. A battlefield, he whispered. Carrick didn't slow down. Don't just stand there. We're dealing with the Red Lightning tribe today. Shutra's stomach dropped. Red Lightning? Where's the tutorial? Carrick roared with excitement about his first deployment, but Shutra panicked. This wasn't a drill, this was war. The rebellion of the Red Lightning orcs had already begun, and his mission, alongside the 7th prince and 8th princess, was to crush it. He looked around in disbelief. Only 10 soldiers? For his first battle? When he voiced his fear, Carrick frowned, asking if he'd eaten something strange. His strange behavior was unsettling, but Shutra could only stare at the horizon, realizing with dread, this was no game anymore. Ignoring Carrick's puzzled look, the young prince raised his hand once more. A shimmering game interface appeared, projecting a holographic minimap into the air before him. He decided to keep it open, a tool to guide his steps. Immediately, something unusual caught his eye. An unmarked, hidden path faintly glowing on the map. His heart skipped a beat. A secret event? Meanwhile, Carrick unfolded a weathered physical map, muttering that their current route would take far too long. With quiet confidence, Shutra declared that he knew a faster shortcut. The orcs exchanged uncertain glances but obeyed their prince, following him into the dense, unfamiliar woods. The shortcut soon revealed itself to be anything but easy. Before them loomed a sheer cliff face, steep and jagged. One by one they climbed, clinging to the rocks. Sweat ran down Shutra's brow as his arms trembled. His breath came ragged, and he cursed under his breath the curse of his pitiful stamina stat. Still he pressed on, forcing his body upward. At last, they reached the top, greeted not by open land, but by a towering ancient stone door carved into the mountainside. Twin rings of iron hung from it, rusted yet unbroken, proof it had been sealed for centuries. Carrick's eyes went wide with amazement. "Prince, how did you know of this place? Are you secretly a mage?" he asked in awe. Shutra waved the suggestion away, too drained to answer properly. Carrick studied him with concern. "Are you all right?" "I'd be fine, if my stamina wasn't stuck at one," Shutra muttered bitterly. Forcing himself forward, he stepped onto a faintly glowing sigil etched in the stone floor before the door. The moment his boot touched the mark, a surge of golden fire erupted around him. Flames swirled upward, licking the air with divine brilliance. Shutra staggered back in shock, stunned by the sudden torrent of energy. Before his eyes, a notification appeared. "Level up." He froze, disbelief washing over him. "I leveled up, just by walking?" Quickly, he summoned his status screen. His jaw tightened as he read the changes. All his stats had increased by 2 points, and 2 fresh skill points awaited. His lips curled into a faint smile. The truth was undeniable now. His protagonist bonus turned even accidents into opportunities. Carrick's shout dragged him back. "Prince, hurry. We must move." Nodding, Shutra steadied himself. For the first time, he felt true confidence. He wasn't alone. Carrick and his warriors stood with him. And with this strange power, he realized even disasters could be bent to his favor. Together, they advanced into the yawning darkness of the cave. Jagged icy walls shimmered faintly, hinting at old secrets buried deep inside. Carrick ran his hand across the stone, remarking that dwarves must have dug this passage long ago, back when they still lived within the demon realm. Suddenly, Carrick stopped short, his eyes widening. The orc soldiers surged forward, shouting in excitement. Before them lay a treasure hoard, abandoned dwarven weapons, glimmering faintly in the gloom. While the soldiers cheered, Shutra remained composed. His eyes lingered on a great sword radiating power. Reaching out, he tried to lift it, only for system alerts to flash before him. Requirement not met. Level too low. Requirement not met. Strength too low. He sighed but did not despair. Instead, he pointed to the weapon and focused. At his thought, the blade vanished with a shimmer, safely stored in his inventory. A grin flickered across his lips. The system worked just as he expected. But his satisfaction was short-lived. His minimap pulsed red. Enemy signals. Dozens of them closing in fast. "Retreat! Now!" Shutra shouted. Before the orcs could react, a crimson crystal materialized between 2 soldiers. It cracked, glowing ominously, then exploded in a violent surge of pink energy. The blast sent bodies crashing against the cave walls. Smoke and dust filled the air as a towering figure stepped forward. His crimson skin glistened with menace, his aura radiating fury. He was Ken, commander of the Red Lightning tribe. His voice echoed mockingly. "Fools! You walked straight into my trap." With a sharp gesture, he commanded his warriors. The Red Lightning orcs surged from the shadows, weapons raised high. Steel clashed against steel. The cave thundered with the roar of battle. Carrick charged to the front lines, bellowing orders, his blade cutting down foes to protect his men. And there, in the middle of the chaos, stood Shutra, a sword clenched tightly in his trembling hands, his heart racing as the clash of two tribes swallowed him whole. Amidst the chaos, a soldier collapsed at his side, blood splattering across the stone. Shutra's heart lurched. I can't just stand here. I have to do something. Desperation drove his thoughts. If he could just land one finishing blow, maybe he could earn some easy experience. His eyes locked onto a red-skinned warrior, distracted in combat with one of his allies. This is my chance. Gritting his teeth, the young prince rushed forward. With every ounce of strength he possessed, he swung his cheap, brittle sword, aiming to strike true. The blade met the enemy's hide, only to shatter instantly, fragments scattering uselessly across the ground. Shutra froze in horror. The orc warrior turned slowly, its burning crimson eyes fixing directly on him. A guttural roar thundered from its throat, shaking the walls as it lunged. Panic overtook him. Ah! Shutra screamed, stumbling back. The enemy stomped down, cracking the stone floor as it launched forward like a beast. One punch, just one, smashed into the prince's chest. The world spun as he was hurled backward, crashing onto the cold rock. A piercing notification flashed before his eyes. Critical condition, 1 HP remaining. His breath hitched. Terror consumed him as the orc's shadow loomed overhead, ready to crush him into the earth. Shutra squeezed his eyes shut, his scream echoing through the cavern. The killing blow never came. Instead, Carrick leapt between them, his massive frame absorbing the strike. Blood sprayed from the warrior's mouth, but he did not falter. He turned to his prince, eyes blazing with loyalty. Run, your highness, while you still can. Shutra sat paralyzed, staring at his trembling hands. This is only a game, right? He told himself, clinging to the thought. Yet his chest still ached from the punch. His body still trembled. Felt too real. Too real. I've had enough of this, he muttered, trying to force open the menu. This game is way too realistic. The interface flickered. His skill list was empty. The buffs he'd seen earlier gone. His face drained of color as sweat trickled down his temple. He frantically scrolled through the options, searching for the one thing that could save him. There was no logout button. His breath quickened. No, 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 no. The grim battle raged around him, his allies falling one after another. He sat on the cold ground, whispering, "Am I actually trapped here?" His despair was broken by a rising chant. Across the cavern, Kaichan, commander of the Red Lightning Tribe, raised his staff high. Sinister pink energy crackled around him as his lips curved into a cruel grin. Die here, little prince. He leapt into the air, magic surging. The cavern trembled as he unleashed a devastating blast. Shutra looked up, his pupils shrinking. I can't die here. I can't. The pink inferno consumed him, slamming into his body. His scream was drowned in the explosion as light swallowed everything. The system chimed coldly. HP 0, you are dead. But instead of awakening outside the game, he opened his eyes to a vast, empty void of endless blue. His chest rose and fell raggedly as he turned in every direction, utterly alone. I was attacked. I died. So why am I still here? The thought pierced him like ice. Could it be I actually died? Before despair swallowed him, a radiant golden light flared in the distance. His eyes widened as a majestic, feminine voice echoed through the void. You are the destiny of this world. A dazzling figure emerged, ethereal, goddess-like, her beauty so divine it stole his breath. She gazed at him with unwavering authority. Conquer, subjugate, rule. Shutra's lips parted in disbelief. He staggered back, stunned by her words, her power, her very presence. The brilliance swallowed him, pulling his consciousness away. When his vision cleared, he was back in the cavern. The battle raged on, Carrick's warriors desperately resisting, but the Red Lightning tribe's overwhelming numbers were crushing them. Kai-chan laughed cruelly, his staff dripping with power, mocking their stupidity for stepping into his trap. "Finish them," he commanded. Just as the orc horde prepared their final strike, the cavern erupted. A blinding golden light burst forth, engulfing the battlefield. The commander stares in shock at the resurrected prince, questioning how he could have returned. Shut now stands confidently amidst the chaos, his body enveloped in a powerful golden aura. A system notification appears before him, announcing he has acquired a new skill, psychokinesis. He stares at the message, completely baffled as to when or how he could have possibly learned it. A spark of realization flashes in his eyes as he understands something fundamental has changed. His status screen now displays a subclass he has never seen before called Knight of Conquest. The enemy commander roars in absolute fury, ordering his soldiers to kill the prince first. Carrick can only stare in disbelief, his eyes wide with shock upon seeing his leader alive and well. The sight of their resurrected prince inspires the green orcs who rally to his side with renewed hope. They form a defensive wall around Chutra, ready to protect him from the charging enemy horde. The young prince clutches his broken sword hilt, his attention still glued to his status window. He reads the name Knight of Conquest, a class that he knows never existed in the original game. His eyes glow with intense focus as he questions the reason behind all these unexpected changes. He raises his broken fist, channeling his newfound energy as a spell instinctively comes to mind. His eyes glow with intense power as he feels the words resonate within him as if he has known them for a long time. He releases the spell, declaring that the power of conquest is the true power of a king. A massive wave of golden energy erupts from him, enveloping his allies and empowering them. The system confirms the activation of his Under the King's Banner ability, empowering all allies in the area. Carrick and the other green orcs roar with newfound strength, feeling the power coursing through their veins. Filled with incredible vigor, the reinvigorated soldiers advance to eliminate their enemies. The empowered orcs tear through the ranks of the Red Lightning tribe with unstoppable, overwhelming force. The battlefield shifts rapidly as Shutra's allies easily overwhelm their once dominant foes. The Red Orcs are completely stunned by their enemy's sudden, inexplicable surge in strength. Kai-chan can only stare in disbelief at the ridiculous turn of events unfolding before him. He watches his army being decimated, his eyes finally falling on the source of the chaos. The commander realizes that the young prince is responsible for turning the tide of the battle. In a last desperate effort, Kai-chan summons enormous magical crystals to attack Shutra directly, but Carrick intervenes, shattering the ground with a powerful punch and creating a smoke screen. The loyal warrior then lunges forward, propelled by the prince's psychokinesis ability. Shut points his broken sword, directing his trusted ally like a homing missile toward the enemy leader. Kai-chan watches in terror as the powerful orc warrior flies directly toward him at incredible speed. The enemy leader tries to protest, but it is too late to react or defend himself from the attack. Carrick's attack lands with devastating force, defeating the Red Lightning tribe commander. With their leader gone, the remaining Red Orcs panic and flee, and Shutra orders his men to hunt them down. A notification appears explaining that a general's merit always belongs to their king. He is then bombarded with multiple level-up messages, a reward for his general's victory. The prince stares in confusion, wondering why his level suddenly increased so dramatically. Carrick is also baffled, looking at his hands and questioning the source of his newfound power. The young prince turns to his loyal general, a new confident smirk on his face. A flashback reveals a conversation where the prince's actions made the orc question his identity. Later that night, back at their camp, the victorious orcs celebrate their unexpected victory. Shutra sat alone in his tent, his hands trembling as he frantically searched for a logout option. His eyes darted across every menu, his thoughts spiraling in panic. He tried to steady his breathing, forcing himself to think through the possibilities. The first explanation was simple, some kind of VR malfunction, a critical bug that had trapped him inside the system. If that was the case, maybe the developers would fix it and he'd be freed eventually. But the second possibility clawed at him, the one that sounded insane yet matched everything he had seen so far. Perhaps he wasn't trapped in VR at all. Perhaps he had been pulled into another world, one that was either the game itself or something terrifyingly similar. Every detail backed this conclusion. The lifelike backgrounds, the NPCs who behaved like real people and responded to his words. None of it felt programmed. He even checked his arms, his face, searching desperately for any trace of pixelation. There was nothing. His skin was real. His heartbeat was real. That left him with a single horrifying thought. If this truly was reality, then the only escape might be through death. His chest tightened at the idea, but he quickly shook his head. No, that's too reckless, too dangerous. Before his thoughts could spiral further, Carrick's voice sounded from outside the tent. "Your Highness, may I enter?" Shutra froze, pulling himself back to the moment. The curtain shifted, and Carrick stepped inside, his expression heavy and serious. The loyal general didn't waste time with pleasantries. Instead, he explained something unexpected. There would be a duel. Shutra blinked. A duel? Now? For what reason? Carrick's tone was steady, unwavering. "I need to see your skill with a sword." He tossed a wooden training blade toward the prince, who instinctively caught it with both hands. Shutra stared down at it in disbelief, his eyes flicking back to Carrick. "You're serious?" The orc raised his own weapon, nodding firmly. "Don't worry, I'll go easy on you." Shutra let out a scoff, masking his unease with a smirk. "Easy? Careful, you're talking to your prince. If we're going to do this, we'll do it properly." Carrick readied his stance, muscles tightening as he prepared. Shutra lunged, swinging clumsily at his side. The strike was wild, off balance, and Carrick avoided it effortlessly. A memory flashed in Shutra's mind of his past self. Pitiful attempts at swordsmanship, his strikes weak, his efforts hopeless. Another memory flickered, him trying to smash a rock with a stick, only to break the stick in half. Back in the present, Carrick countered, his wooden blade striking the prince's side with ease. Shutra stumbled, tumbling to the ground. "Ow! That was too fast!" he shouted, clutching his ribs in protest. Then, before his eyes, glowing letters appeared. "Skill acquired. Basic swordsmanship." He froze, staring at the message in shock. How? He hadn't learned anything yet. Confusion raced through his mind until a thought clicked. Just like with psychokinesis, he had gained the skill not through training, but through experiencing an attack. Carrick extended a hand, ready to call an end to the duel. "That's enough." But Shutra slapped the ground and stood, eyes burning with determination. "Enough? Not even close. I'm just getting started." He charged again, this time with sharper form. Their wooden swords clashed, sparks of light flashing as power surged between them. Carrick's brows furrowed in surprise. "His movements? They've improved already?" The prince pressed forward, his strikes far more precise. He met Carrick blow for blow, his stance solid, his control natural. After another exchange, Shutra landed firmly on his feet, his smirk wide and confident. "See? It's not so hard anymore." He lowered his weapon slightly, his gaze turning curious. "Carrick, what level are you right now?" The general thought for a moment. 21? Give or take. Shutra raised his hand, his interface glowing to life. His level displayed clearly. 7. Yet instead of faltering, his grin only deepened. "Level 7. That's fine. I'll catch up to you soon enough." He knew the truth. Unlike anyone else here, he could open his window freely, without spells or restrictions. This ability gave Shutra an overwhelming edge. Unlike others, he could view every detail of his stats and distribute bonus points as he pleased. Gripping his wooden blade tightly, he leapt high into the air and brought down another fierce strike against Carrick. The orc warrior braced himself, surprised at the sudden burst of strength. Their sparring continued, each clash refining the young prince's movements until his strikes carried weight and purpose. With each exchange, realization dawned on him. With these advantages, I can grow stronger faster than anyone. I can surpass them all. His mind drifted to the story of Night Saga, particularly the Demon Realm arc. In the game, the protagonist Zephyr fought his siblings one by one, defeating them all to claim the throne of Demon King. The most pivotal event was the dreaded Day of Slaughter, the moment Zephyr mercilessly killed every rival sibling standing in his way. And since Shutra himself was one of those siblings, he too was destined to fall to Zephyr's blade. Opening his interface, he checked the calendar. 5 years. That's all the time he had before the Day of Slaughter. His jaw tightened. If I'm going to survive, I need to change the story. I need to be stronger than Zephyr. Carrick's voice snapped him out of his thoughts. The general stood nearby, irritation on his face. Your Highness, what are you doing out here? Did you forget about today's meeting? Shutra blinked, caught off guard. Meeting? He echoed nervously. Carrick groaned, rubbing his forehead. Everyone is already waiting. Hurry! Moments later, Shutra sat at the head of a long table, his nerves on edge. Across from him were 2 unfamiliar faces, siblings he had only known from the game's story. One sipped tea calmly, while the other observed him with sharp eyes. His older brother spoke first, his voice warm. I'm Chris Moonlight. No need to be so stiff, we're family. Just call me Big Brother. His sister followed with a soft smile. I'm Caitlin Moonlight. It's nice to finally meet you in person. Shutra's heart thudded. He remembered clearly Chris and Caitlin, children of Queen Elaine of the Lycanthropes. In the game, both of them died tragically 1 year before the Day of Slaughter, betrayed and eliminated by Zephyr and the others. Their downfall tied to Caitlin's secret. She wasn't truly the Demon King's daughter, but an illegitimate child of another affair. Chris's kindness and Caitlin's gentle words caught him off guard. Caitlin suddenly stood and walked over, leaning close to check him for injuries. Why did you fight when it was only supposed to be reconnaissance? She scolded softly. You're the weakest among us. You need to be careful. Shutra's eyes widened. He had expected hostility, yet here they were, genuinely concerned. Chris set down his cup, his tone stern. If you pull a reckless stunt again, you'll answer to me. For a moment, the prince stared at them both, his thoughts in turmoil. Could it be? The Demon King's children aren't all ruthless villains? Could they truly be kind? A determined light flickered in his eyes. He needed to seize this chance. Lycanthropes were famous for their mastery of aura, and if he could learn it, his growth would skyrocket. Turning to Chris, he flashed a cheeky grin. Big Brother, can you hit me with your aura? Both Chris and Caitlin froze, staring at him in utter disbelief. Some time later, the war against the Red Lightning tribe raged on. At the front lines, warriors from both sides clashed fiercely, the cavern echoing with the sound of steel, roars, and dying cries. The battle for survival showed no signs of ending. The battlefield had descended into pure chaos. Explosions shook the ground, the air filled with the cries of both the fallen and the living. Among the carnage, a massive armored green orc warrior stood like an immovable wall. Several red-skinned enemies swarmed him at once, but their blades and spears bounced off his defenses like twigs snapping against stone. With a single swipe of his arm, he sent 2 enemies flying. A brutal punch landed squarely on another's face, the impact shattering bone and leaving the foe screaming in agony. Not stopping there, the warrior slammed his fist into the ground, releasing a shock wave so powerful it ripped through the battlefield, tossing red orcs aside like leaves in a storm. Their commander, a red-skinned general, bellowed furiously, offering rewards to anyone who killed the green orcs. In response, the green orcs raised their weapons and unleashed a thunderous war cry, their resolve unshaken. But in the middle of it all, Shutra's vision blurred. The sounds of battle faded. He opened his eyes to find himself once again in the mysterious void. The same radiant goddess appeared before him, her presence burning with divine majesty. 2 new shadowy figures emerged behind her, their forms vague and indistinct, their identities completely unknown. Who are they? Shutra thought. They never existed in the game. The goddess placed her hand gently on his shoulder. A blinding light consumed his vision. Then suddenly he jolted awake. Sunlight streamed into his tent, the warmth of morning breaking through the flap. For a moment he sat frozen, clutching his head. Was that just a dream within the game? A large face suddenly appeared right in front of him. "You're awake." "Gah!" Shutra yelped, stumbling back in fright. Carrick stood calmly, unfazed by his scream. "You look fine. I was worried after what happened yesterday. But why in the world did you beg Chris to strike you with aura? You knew this would happen." Before Shutra could reply, a strange warmth coursed through his body. He clenched his fist, eyes widening at the energy flowing beneath his skin. A golden notification flickered before him. Skill acquired. Aura, level 1. His heart pounded. He could feel it, his aura. Overjoyed, he laughed, explaining his theory to Carrick. "I knew it. Getting struck by aura awakens your own." "I was right." Carrick frowned, correcting him. "Half right, but close enough." The orc's expression turned serious. "Tell me honestly, was it you who caused that surge of power in the last battle?" Shutra hesitated, then tried to divert the question. "What happened while I was out?" Carrick exhaled, folding his arms. "Big news. The main camp secured a victory against the Burek tribe." Shutra blinked. "The main camp? But weren't we the only ones sent to fight the orcs?" "No," Carrick said firmly. "The main camp was led by General Bandal, an ogre worth 100 men." Shutra froze. The name lit up in his memory. Bandal, a monstrous warrior, absurdly powerful. In the game, Zephyr recruited him 3 years later as one of his most terrifying subordinates. A grin spread across Shutra's face. "If Bandal joins Zephyr in 3 years, then I still have time. If I can sway him now, he'll belong to me instead." He knew everything, Bandal's favorite foods, his gifts, even the hidden conditions required to earn his loyalty. But the ultimate requirement was simple, a duel. Bandal would only follow someone who could defeat him in one-on-one combat. Shutra's pulse quickened at the thought. With his knowledge and his new powers, this was the perfect chance. Zephyr will never have him. Bandal will be mine. Later, back at Caitlyn's base, the morning carried a different mood. Chris and Caitlyn listened in disbelief as Shutra demonstrated his progress. "You mastered the basics of aura in just 1 day? Impossible." Shut smirked proudly. "Not impossible. I put every single stat point I had into aura. It only makes sense." He explained further. Unlike other stats, aura amplified overall strength, speed, and endurance, making it the ultimate long-term investment. Chris narrowed his eyes. "Even so, your growth is abnormal. Could this be because of your Gandharva bloodline?" Shutra only shrugged, feigning ignorance. Chris shifted the topic, asking, "Then, can you make a map of the tunnels you discovered during your mission?" The young prince nodded, grinning. "Of course, I have a mini-map. Just bring me paper and ink, and I'll draw it for you." Chris is amazed by the detail, exclaiming that it's much better than the map he currently has. He excitedly calls his younger brother a genius, throwing an arm around him in a proud embrace. Caitlyn points out that since they wiped out the enemy squad, no one else knows about the tunnels. She then tells the young prince that she has one more important task for him to complete. The siblings head out into the vast mountainous landscape, ready to begin their next operation. Shut finds himself on another scouting mission, accepting his role as the weakest of the brothers, for now. He notes that at least this time they have reinforcements, thanks to the credit they've earned. As they march through the forest, he notices 2 hooded figures observing them from the shadows. He is surprised to see his sister Caitlyn among them, her face partially hidden by the cloak. He asks why she's suddenly wearing a cloak, but she quickly shushes him, indicating they need to be quiet. She explains that she'll secretly tag along just in case anything unexpected or dangerous happens. He is surprised by her trust but scoffs at the idea of an achievement, focusing on his own goals. The other hooded figure introduces herself as Sira, his new adjutant for this important mission. Caitlyn tells him to focus on scouting and not to mind them, as they will follow on their own. The group ventures back into the icy cavernous tunnel system they had previously discovered. They find that all the rooms are completely empty, with no signs of life or valuable items. Carrick remarks that the dwarves must have taken everything with them when they moved out long ago. The group continues their exploration, venturing deeper into the dark and mysterious caverns. Suddenly, Carrick stops, sensing that something is approaching them from the darkness ahead. Shut checks his minimap and confirms the presence of a large group of enemies nearby. He quickly opens his inventory, a confident and prepared look on his determined face. He pulls out a special flash magic item, a small potion he brought along just in case. He whispers instructions to Carrick, telling him to have everyone shut their eyes on his signal. A massive swarm of glowing red eyes appears from the darkness, revealing a terrifying nest of spiders. These are rock spiders, monsters that move in swarms and possess a powerful paralytic venom. With the enemies now in sight, he gives the signal and throws the flash magic potion forward. The potion shatters on the ground, releasing a blindingly bright flash of intense golden light. The entire cavern is illuminated by the sudden explosion of magical radiant energy. The rock spiders screech in agony, completely disoriented and stunned by the unexpected flash. Shut explains that the creatures are immobilized by light and orders his units to attack. The orc soldiers charge forward, their battle cries echoing through the massive icy cavern. They clash with the immobilized rock spiders, cutting them down with their powerful weapons. Shut stands back, observing the battle and allowing his forces to handle the smaller threats. He pulls up his minimap again, his eyes focused on the single larger red dot among the swarm. He knows that every pack has a leader, and this one is no exception to that universal rule. He calls out to Carrick, telling him to follow as they go after the main boss of the spider nest. The two of them break away from the main group, charging deeper into the heart of the cavern. They run past the ongoing battle, their focus solely on finding and eliminating the spider leader. They soon come face to face with a monstrous multi-eyed creature much larger than the others. Carrick lets out a fierce battle cry and leaps forward, swinging his axe with all his might. His weapon connects with the creature's tough shell, but it bounces off harmlessly, creating a bright spark. The orc warrior is stunned by the ineffectiveness of his powerful attack against the boss. He complains about the creature's incredibly tough shell, which his axe is unable to pierce. Shukia recalls from the game that the monster's carapace is indeed insanely hard to break. He remembers that its only weakness is fire, but he doesn't have any fire magic at his disposal. The massive spider lets out a low growl, its many eyes glaring down at the two small intruders. It lunges forward, ready to attack, causing Carrick to brace himself for the incoming assault. The prince quickly shouts for his companion to use fire, reminding him of the creature's weakness. Carrick, however, is at a complete loss, questioning where he's supposed to find fire so suddenly. A new voice suddenly calls out to Shutra, instructing him to draw his sword immediately. He stares in disbelief, questioning if the voice he heard was actually channeling magic. His sister Caitlin appears with a powerful magical aura, asking if her enchantment will suffice. The massive spider lunges forward, its sharp mandibles ready to tear the young prince apart. With his sword now enchanted with fire, he confidently charges forward to meet the beast head-on. His eyes narrow with intense focus as he prepares to unleash the full power of his new weapon. He parries the creature's attack with his enchanted blade, the impact creating a powerful shock wave. He then leaps into the air, his cape billowing behind him as he prepares for a downward strike. He unleashes a powerful burning blade attack, engulfing the spider's many eyes in flames. The fiery attack spreads across the cavern floor, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Shutra landed gracefully, confidence shining in his eyes after his successful strike. A cascade of glowing messages appeared before him. Level up! Level up! The rewards for defeating the boss poured in, pushing him to level 9, a milestone that made his chest swell with pride. Caitlin, still shaken by the brilliant light from earlier, asked cautiously, "What was that?" Shutra quickly covered, forcing a calm smile. "A blessing. It sometimes happens to those with Gandharva blood." The lie slipped out smoothly, and his sister seemed convinced. She pressed further, asking how he knew so much about the spiders. He shrugged lightly, claiming he had read about them in a book. Before the conversation could continue, Carrick's voice boomed from deeper inside the cavern. "Your Highness, over here." The group gathered, following him to a massive ornate gate embedded in the rock wall. Its design was foreign, its presence out of place in the cavern's rugged interior. Cautiously, they pushed the gate open and stepped inside. Torches lined the chamber beyond, bathing the room in flickering light. Shutra froze the moment he saw it. He recognized the design instantly. Town portal. His pulse quickened. This was something he had only encountered in the game. Carrick eyed the structure curiously. "Do you know what this is?" Shutra hesitated, then gave a vague answer. "I just have a feeling." He studied the design more closely. The carvings were distinctly dwarven, just as he remembered. As Zephyr, he had never found one, but playing as the hero, he had stumbled across several. He recalled clearly, the portals activated only when infused with sufficient magic. He turned to Caitlin. "I believe it's a portal." Her eyes widened. Sierra, standing nearby, nodded in agreement. Caitlin frowned in thought. "But where does it lead?" Carrick pointed to a plaque beside the structure, etched with strange runes. The group gathered, staring at it. Caitlin tilted her head. "This isn't demon script. It looks dwarven, but I can't read it." She glanced at Sierra, who shook her head apologetically. Then, without hesitation, Shutra spoke. "Portal of the Jashuka Range. Connected to the Dwarven Network. Linked destination, secondary portal east." His voice trailed off as his own words sank in. "Wait, how did I just read that?" A golden notification appeared before him. "Skill acquired. Dwarven script, level 1. Carrick gaped. You can read it?" Shutra nodded slowly, still baffled. "It seems I can." Sierra questioned when he had learned the language, while Caitlin urged him to continue. Shutra explained that the inscription confirmed the portal could be activated if infused with magic. "Then do it," Caitlin suggested, stepping back. He scratched his cheek nervously, his lie quick. "I'm not exactly good at handling magic." With a sigh, Caitlin stepped forward, raising her hands. Magic surged from her palms into the ancient device. The portal shimmered to life, its core glowing with ethereal blue light. A holographic map projected above it, outlining the rugged terrain of the Jashuka mountain range. Shutra pointed to their current position. "Here. And that's where the connected portal lies." Carrick frowned. "That's right where the main red lightning forces are gathering." Caitlin's expression hardened. "We'll stop for now. I need to discuss this advantage with Chris." Later, back at camp, the news spread quickly. Chris embraced his younger brother with pure joy. "Shutra, this is a miracle. You've brought us a game-changing discovery." He laughed, calling him their good luck charm. "Anything you want," Chris declared warmly. "As your brother, and as your leader, I'll grant it." Shutra tried to protest, but Chris insisted, his sincerity undeniable. After a pause, the young prince's lips curled into a small, knowing smile. If his brother was willing to give him anything, then this was an opportunity he couldn't afford to waste. He makes a big request, something he's been thinking about for a while now to get stronger. He asks his older brother to teach him the legendary beast Godfist martial art. Chris is stunned into silence by the unexpected and serious nature of his younger brother's request. Shut explains that since his level is too low for weapons, he wants to learn powerful techniques. The beast Godfist is a powerful S-rank martial art passed down through the Lyanthrop royal family. He knows it's a big ask and starts to backtrack, figuring his brother will refuse the request. To his surprise, Chris agrees to teach him, a wide smile spreading across the prince's face. However, he clarifies that he can't teach him the secret techniques of the martial art. Instead of the beast Godfist, he offers to teach his younger brother how to properly use aura. Shut is left speechless by the offer, a mix of surprise and excitement on his young face. Seeing his silence, Chris assumes he doesn't like the offer, but the prince quickly reassures him. With the deal now settled, Chris gets a serious look on his face. Addressing his younger brother, he asks if it's okay for him to think of him as another little brother, just like Caitlin. The prince is taken aback by the heartfelt question. Realizing the weight of his brother's words, he understands that this is a significant step in their relationship, a sign of true acceptance. He quickly realizes that this is a good offer and agrees to the new family dynamic. The two brothers shake hands, sealing their newfound alliance with a firm and determined grip. Caitlin looks on with a warm smile, happy to see her two brothers finally bonding. Shut declares that they will do their best together, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. A system notification confirms that a normal alliance has been formed with his two siblings. The alliance status is still at a basic level, but it's a crucial first step for their future. The sun sets over the mountains, casting a warm orange glow over the entire landscape. Meanwhile, at the Red Lightning Tribe's garrison, a new and sinister plot is unfolding. The Red Orc soldiers stand guard, their expressions grim and their weapons at the ready. A new, powerful-looking orc addresses his men, a cunning and cruel smirk on his face. He mentions their dear princess, hinting at a captive they have hidden within their camp. In a dark, candlelit tent, a young woman is bound by magical chains, a helpless prisoner. Shut reviews his stats, noticing that his charisma is lagging behind all his other attributes. He recalls that at first all his stats went up by 2, but now charisma only increases by 1. He wonders why his charisma is growing slower, remembering a key detail from the original game. In Night Saga, appearance and charisma were 2 separate stats, each with a different function. He dismisses the thought, figuring it makes sense given his rapid growth in other areas. More importantly, he's about to hit level 10, a crucial milestone for any character in the game. He recalls that when the main characters reached level 10, their unique skills would also level up. Carrick's voice interrupts his thoughts, announcing that everyone is ready to head out for the mission. The prince agrees, a confident and eager smile on his face, as he prepares for the upcoming battle. Carrick notes his good mood, but Shutra simply brushes it off, hiding his true excitement. The two of them step out of the tent, ready to lead their forces into the fray once again. They stand before their assembled army, the orc soldiers ready and waiting for their command. With a determined look, the prince gives the order, and the entire army begins to march forward. They head towards a dark and ominous cave entrance, the path to their next major battle. Inside the cave, Lycanthrope soldiers are already engaged in a fierce battle with the local monsters. The wolf-like warriors fight with incredible ferocity, clearing a path to the ornate gate within. The main group arrives at the portal chamber, ready to begin the next phase of their operation. 2 hooded Lycanthrope mages are already there, inspecting the portal to ensure it's safe to use. They confirm that the portal connects to the Eska tributary, just as the prince had predicted. They also assure the group that the portal is functioning properly, a testament to dwarven craftsmanship. With the portal now confirmed to be safe and operational, Chris gives the order to move out. The 2 mages begin to activate the portal, channeling their magic into the ancient device. The portal activates, revealing a shimmering gateway to another location in the mountains. Shut stares at the portal, a mix of awe and excitement on his young, determined face. He thinks to himself how amazing it is to see one of these gates in real life, not just in a game. His sister calls out to him, urging him to hurry up and join them. As they prepare to step through, he snaps out of his thoughts and rushes forward, ready to follow his siblings into the unknown. They step through the portal and arrive in a new, unfamiliar location, a rocky and barren landscape. The prince looks around, taking in the new surroundings with a curious and observant expression. They stand on a high cliff overlooking a massive enemy encampment spread out below them. Chris is pleased with the discovery, confirming that their intel about the enemy base was correct. He estimates there are about 5,000 enemy troops, and their first priority should be the logistics officer. He outlines a plan for a pincer attack with General Vandal leading a frontal assault. However, Sierra points out that something seems strange about the encampment below them. She notes that there are far too few troops, and Chris wonders where the rest of them could have gone. A distant sound catches their attention, a sign of a battle already in progress somewhere nearby. The prince looks towards the sound, confirming that there is definitely a fight happening over there. Chris instructs him to focus his aura into his eyes to get a better view of the distant conflict. He does as he's told, his eyes glowing with a faint white light as he enhances his vision. He can now clearly see the battle, the Red Lightning tribe fighting against an unknown force. He recognizes one side as the Red Lightning Orcs, but the other group is completely unfamiliar to him. The prince notes that the scale of the battle is too small to be General Vandal's main army. He recognizes the mysterious warriors as Dark Elves, a race known for their fierce combat skills. The rest of the group is surprised by this revelation, not expecting to see Dark Elves in this region. Shut explains that he can tell by their small build and the fact that they are riding Dracos. Chris spots the Dark Elves retreating from the battlefield, a sudden and unexpected turn of events. He wonders if their commander has fallen, as they are withdrawing with incredible speed. The group is left confused, questioning why the fight ended so abruptly and what it all means. The prince is particularly puzzled, wondering what Dark Elves could possibly be doing in this area. Later, back at their main camp, the siblings receive a holographic call from General Vandal. The general congratulates them on discovering the portal, a rumor he had already heard about. He commends Prince Chris's army for their impressive find, asking how they knew it was there. Chris gives all the credit to his younger brother, who humbly claims that he just got lucky. The general promises a handsome reward from the Demon King's castle for his valuable discovery. He then asks about a small skirmish that occurred near the Red Lightning Orc tribe's camp. The general explains that it was the Dark Elves who seemed to have jumped into the fight on their own. Chris is confused, as he heard they were supposed to be reinforcements from the Demon King's castle. The ogre general clarifies that there's a problem, a serious complication in their plans. He reveals that the commander of the Dark Elf unit has been captured by the Red Lightning Orcs. Shut asks who the captured commander is, a crucial piece of information for their next move. Vandal informs them that it's someone they know well, a person of great importance. The captured commander is none other than the sixth princess, Felicia Doomblade, another of their siblings. Chris and Caitlin are shocked to learn that their own sister has been captured by the enemy. She is the daughter of the third queen and a former Dark Elf princess with a twin brother named Sylvan. Shut recalls that in the game, both siblings were part of the fourth Princess Anastasia's faction. He wonders why Felicia has shown up in this region, speculating that she might be trying to take all the credit. Chris asks if the Red Lightning tribe knows that their captive is a Dark Elf princess. The general admits that he hasn't been able to confirm that information with his sources yet. The group discusses their plan, deciding to save her if possible, but without any prior negotiations. Chris declares that he has no intention of bowing his head to the enemy to secure her release. The ogre general agrees to gather more information and contact them if anything new develops. After the call ends, the three siblings stand in silence, contemplating their next move. Chris breaks the silence, a dry smile on his face as he comments on their sister's capture. Caitlin insists they have to save her if she's still alive, but her brother warns it won't be easy. She is taken aback by his hesitation, realizing the potential dangers of a rescue mission. With a determined look, she declares that they must save her, as she is their sister after all. Chris hesitates, a bead of sweat running down his temple as he weighs the risks and rewards. He knows she's right, but the practicalities of the situation make him cautious about their approach. The Lyanthrope soldiers stand guard outside the tent, their wolf-like forms ready for battle. Chris gathers his siblings and generals, laying out a simple and direct plan for the rescue while General Vandal lures the main enemy force. They will launch a surprise attack from behind. He will then push into the center of the garrison to cause chaos while the others carry out their missions. Shut confirms the mission objectives: burn the food storage, destroy the armory, and rescue Felicia. Chris adds a crucial condition: if things get too dangerous, they must pull back immediately. Caitlin objects, but her brother silences her, reminding her that he is also a unit leader. He argues that they can't let Felicia's selfish actions ruin their entire operation and risk more lives. Shut realizes that Chris doesn't actually want to save their sister. A surprising and cold revelation. He wonders what could have happened between them to cause such a rift in their relationship. As the night falls, the forces of General Vandal begin their advance on the enemy encampment. The general leads the charge, his warriors letting out fierce battle cries as they rush forward. The ogre general roars, ordering his men to take down the Red Lightning tribe with all their might. Meanwhile, Chris and his unit watch the unfolding battle from a high cliff overlooking the camp. They observe the enemy's movements, waiting for the perfect moment to launch their surprise attack. From their vantage point, they see Vandal's forces clash with the enemy. Explosions light up the night. The frontal assault is a chaotic mess of flying rocks and desperate hand-to-hand combat. A powerful ogre warrior from Vandal's army charges into the fray, ready to wreak havoc. He roars with fury, his eyes glowing with a menacing red light as he orders his men to kill them all. Carrick asks if they should join the fight, but Shutra tells him to wait for the signal. The two armies are locked in a brutal and bloody conflict, with casualties mounting on both sides. The battle is a chaotic whirlwind of swinging axes and desperate, savage cries of war. A large armored ogre warrior from Vandal's army stands his ground against the enemy horde. The general watches the battle intently, his expression grim and his focus unwavering. Vandal gives the signal, and his entire army begins to retreat from the battlefield. Chris watches as the enemy camp is engulfed in flames, a result of their strategic retreat. He then addresses his own troops, telling them that it's their turn to enter the fight. The siblings stand ready, their faces determined as they prepare to lead their forces into battle. They charge down the cliff, their soldiers following close behind with fierce battle cries. The Red Lightning orcs are caught completely off guard by the sudden and unexpected flank attack. The Lycanthrope and orc soldiers tear through the enemy ranks with savage, unstoppable force. Caitlin warns her younger brother to be careful as they rush into the heart of the chaotic battle. Shut pulls up his minimap, using it to navigate through the enemy camp with precision. He shouts for his unit to follow him to the left, a direct path to the enemy's food storage. Carrick roars with fury, ordering his men to kill every last one of the enemy soldiers. He clashes with a red orc, his powerful axe easily overpowering his opponent's weapon. The enemy cries out in pain and shock as he's sent flying by the force of the orc's attack. Carrick continues his rampage, a whirlwind of destruction in the midst of the enemy forces. He effortlessly deflects another attack, his skill and strength far superior to his opponent's. A system notification appears before Shutra, announcing he has learned dagger throwing level 1. He grins, a new and deadly skill now at his disposal to use against his unsuspecting foes. Carrick is amazed by the prince's new ability, but Shutra dismisses it, urging him to keep moving. They arrive at the food storage, and the prince orders his men to set it ablaze immediately. In the midst of the flames and chaos, Shutra's eyes widened as a sudden thought struck him. Felicia. A wave of concern crossed his face. We have to find her now. Carrick frowned, uncertain. But in this battlefield, how do we know where she is? Without hesitation, the prince pulled up his minimap again. His determined gaze sharpened. Felicia is a neutral NPC. She should be marked in blue or purple. His eyes scanned quickly and then froze. A single purple dot flickered nearby, inside one of the tents. There, he shouted. Follow me. The two rushed across the camp, cutting through the chaos until they reached the marked tent. They burst through the flap, weapons ready. Inside, the dim torchlight revealed no immediate sign of her. Shutra's eyes darted around, panic threatening to take hold. Then a voice cut through the silence. Shutra? He turned sharply. There, bound in glowing crimson chains, stood his older sister, Felicia Doomblade, the sixth princess. Her beautiful face was pale with shock. How did you find me here? Relief surged through him. There's no time. It's too dangerous to stay. I'll free you, then we're leaving. Felicia stared at him silently, her expression unreadable. as though still trying to process this unexpected rescue. Shutra gritted his teeth and tore through the restraints. The chains shattered, falling away with a hiss of red sparks. Together, they slipped from the tent, moving fast toward their own lines. Felicia's voice broke the silence, tinged with disbelief. So, even the others came to rescue me? Her tone sharpened. Or was it only you? Someone who wasn't even supposed to show up? A hint of suspicion lingered in her words. Before Shutra could respond, Carrick's voice bellowed over the battlefield. Enemies incoming! Shutra grabbed Felicia's hand firmly. Come on, sis! He yelled, pulling her through the carnage. Felicia blinked at the word, sis. Her brother had never spoken to her that way before. Something between them had changed. The battlefield roared around them as they weaved through fire and steel. Suddenly, Felicia's eyes widened. Shutra, behind you! A red orc soldier lunged out of the shadows, slamming a brutal strike into Shutra's back. He staggered forward, gasping, blood spilling from his lips. Pain tore through him as the enemy raised its hands, fiery energy building. Shutra! Felicia screamed, her voice breaking in panic. The flames exploded forward, a searing torrent aimed to consume him. Felicia's fury ignited, her fists clenched, her eyes glowing with golden fire. Get away from him, she roared. Energy surged from her body, erupting in a blast that hurled the enemy backward. But as the smoke cleared, something unnatural stirred. Black mist coiled from the fallen orc's body, twisting in the air until a mysterious figure emerged. Its aura radiated overwhelming darkness, pressing down on everyone nearby. System messages lit up before Shutra's eyes. Skill acquired, magic control. Skill acquired, fire arrow. A confident smirk spread across his bloodied face. So now I can use magic too. But the reprieve was brief. From the smoke, a massive beast wreathed in fire emerged, snarling as its claws scorched the earth. The fiery monster roared, charging straight for him. Instead of fear, Shutra's heart raced with excitement. His lips curled into a grin. Perfect. Let's test these new powers. Shutra raised his hand, conjuring a bow of blazing fire. A flaming arrow formed, then another until he loosed a volley in rapid succession. Each shot streaked across the battlefield, striking enemy soldiers with burning precision. His laughter echoed amidst the chaos. Magic, real magic. This is incredible. He fired again and again, reveling in the sheer thrill of his newfound power. But then, the air shifted. A sudden wave of icy energy tore across the battlefield, freezing the ground where it touched. Shutra's eyes widened. Ice magic? He had never encountered this element before. From the shadows, an enemy archer appeared, his bow drawn. The icy arrow was aimed not at him, but at Felicia. No! Shutra roared. He shoved his sister out of the way, throwing himself into the arrow's path. The frozen shaft pierced him, pain flooding his body as his health dropped sharply. Felicia froze in shock, her eyes wide with disbelief at his selfless act. Then the sky itself seemed to break. Dozens of jagged ice shards rained down, a deadly storm converging on the young prince. Shutra looked up at the incoming barrage, a grin spreading across his bloodied face. This power, it's mine to take. The shard struck, detonating into a violent explosion of frost and frozen air. The battlefield shook, smoke and ice obscuring everything. When the haze lifted, a silhouette remained, Shutra, standing amidst the wreckage. A notification flickered before him. Skill acquired, Ice Arrow Level 1. He clenched his fist, grim satisfaction in his eyes. Yet pain twisted his face as the backlash hurled him backward. His health plummeted to critical levels, the warning glowing red before him. He gritted his teeth. Damn, I was reckless. Felicia rushed to his side, her voice sharp and scolding. Who told you to save me? You're the weakest of us. What made you think you could protect anyone? Her words cut deeply, misunderstanding his true intentions. Shutra blinked, confused, struggling to explain. Her attention shifted as she finished off the ice mage responsible for the attack. To her, it was simple. He had protected her, nothing more. A misconception that Shutra realized might work to his advantage. Suddenly, a soft green glow filled the air. Felicia knelt beside him, her hands radiating warm healing light. She pressed them against his chest, and the torn cloth over his body glowed faintly as the energy seeped into him. Another notification appeared. Skill acquired. Heal, level 1. Felicia exhaled, sweat glistening on her brow. Better. Shutra nodded, sitting up slowly. My health's back to full. The words slipped out naturally, though she tilted her head in confusion at the strange term. Before he could explain, the ground trembled. A low, guttural roar echoed across the camp. From the smoke, a massive figure emerged. A towering red-skinned ogre, its eyes glowing like burning coals. His presence alone radiated raw, terrifying power. Shutra's face paled. He recognized it instantly. A blood ogre. One of the most dangerous mutations in the game, a monster that could crush armies on its own. Felicia rose to her feet beside him, her golden aura flaring as she prepared for battle. Shutra's hands trembled. His mind raced. How are we supposed to fight something like that? The battlefield shook again as the beast advanced, and the siblings braced themselves for the fight of their lives.